Hello, QPR fans, players, TV, home and away. Deejay Ranger back once again with a pre-match preview for Blackburn v QPR being played Saturday, November the 7th at Ewood Park. Alongside me today, I've got Blackburn Rovers fan Ian Herbert and co-host of BRFCS podcast.
Spot on.
And welcome along to QPR.
Thank you very much for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thanks for joining me on QPR fans and players, TV, home and away. Just got you on really just to kind of get your pre-season thoughts, or like season thoughts, as to say, pre-match preview for today's game. Obviously,
yep.
From our own point of view, we've had a bit of a mixed bag start due to numerous issues, losing players through obviously not being able to afford to buy them, i.e. Hugo Wells, and then we lost in recent times Eze and experienced players in Mark Pugh, Grant Hall. We've had a bit of an indifferent start. We beat Forest at home, then we only recently beat Cardiff, and then more recently Derby away. But we haven't been scoring too many. So obviously it's a watchy space with the players that we have brought in. But with regards to Blackburn, what's your general overview of the season so far?
Well, I think it's the ultimate roller coaster. If you'd asked me, well, a number of people did ask me, and we covered it on our podcast pre-season, where we thought we were going to finish. And at the time we recorded, we hadn't signed anybody. So we had no goalkeepers, no centre-back, no left-back. And it was looking like it was going to be a horrific season. Then the window came along. And to be fair to the club, I know most of the signings have been made on loan, but they filled the holes. They plugged the gaps that were there. And the most exciting signing is young Harvey Elliott from Liverpool, who is terrific. I have to say, he's got a wonderful touch. He's destined for greater things than playing for Blackburn Rovers, for sure. But he's definitely got us excited.
Ian, wasn't Harvey Elliott? Didn't he play for Fulham?
He did, yeah. I think he made his debut when he was 15 or something like that in a League Cup tie or something like that.
I do recognise the name. Yeah, he does look a bit, a prospect for the future, as they say.
Yeah, he's got a lovely left foot and a lovely touch. So if you had asked us on transfer deadline day at something like 6 o'clock, I think everyone was generally very, very pleased with the activity that we had in the window. You don't get points for winning the transfer window, sadly.
Yeah.
That would help. But we plugged all the gaps. That was the main thing. We felt like a playoff push at the very least was what we'd expect. Results then have seesawed quite dramatically. We've been fortunate enough to play 10 men already 3 times. We've beaten Wycombe handsomely at home on the first day, but I think Wycombe were still celebrating the promotion. They're starting to get into gear a bit more now, but we probably caught them on a good day, and they went down to 10 men. We beat Derby. Everyone beats Derby at Derby, of course. We gave them a serious hammering 4-0. That was a really good performance and a really encouraging performance against a side at that time that I thought would be pushing for promotion. But as events have unfolded, it didn't look quite as good. And we gave Coventry a bit of a hammering, but they went down to 10 men after about 20 minutes. And it was only when they got tired later on that the goals started to go in. We also played Cardiff, and they went down to 10 men, but we couldn't break them down. So I think that tells a story of when we meet someone who's good and who's organised and has done the homework on us, we find it much, much, much tougher to break them down. I think we were lucky to play Wycombe and Coventry as 2 promoted sides. So I think we flattered ourselves a little bit. But having said that, if you start to build confidence and get a sequence of results, then all things are possible. But then we lost at home to Forest. It was a weary performance coming off the back of the 0-0 to Cardiff as well. We lost at Watford. We actually played pretty well, but Watford punished us with some Premier League defending, Premier League attacking rather. And we've just kind of lost our way. And then injuries and COVID have absolutely decimated us. So we had a bizarre game at home to Middlesbrough midweek where we just defended as if our lives depended on it. We could barely break out into Middlesbrough's penalty area and have a chance. Got away with a 0-0 draw, so it stopped the rot. But I think we're 4 without a win now. So, frankly, today, avoiding defeat would be excellent going into the international break. We could have done with the international break coming a little bit sooner to give us a chance to get some back. But getting 11 men out and having a bench that's half decent today will be quite a triumph. So, we shall see what unfolds.
Well, yeah, I mean, because like early on in the season, you were scoring quite a few goals. Obviously having as you were saying there, between injuries and the COVID era with players being isolating, etc. obviously it must have looked promising for Blackburn Rovers fans at that time, but obviously it's still early days in the season, of course. Long way to go.
It is. Yeah, and the wiser heads would say, don't look at the league table until you've played 10 games. Well, we have now, and it doesn't look that pretty, to be perfectly honest. But when we scored goals, we did look really, really good going forward. As I say, you've got to caveat it by the fact that we're playing two newly promoted sides in Wycombe and Coventry. I know we beat Derby as well. And they were down to 10 men. So it suited us down to the ground to play an expansive passing game and knock the ball around and stretch them. And Armstrong, in that kind of situation, is absolutely lethal because his pace can just burst between defenders. You give him space.
You've got some decent players, the likes of Armstrong. Bradley Dack always scores past us.
He won't score today.
I suppose that's one plus point for QPR's side of things, is Dack's not playing. But then if Armstrong's back, then I think he scored past us last season. I can't remember now, to be fair. But you've got some decent players in the squad, so it's
the squad is strong. Yeah, if you look at the squad, you would say, as I say, the transfer window plugged the gaps. So there was a bit of discontent towards the back end of last season because after lockdown we kind of just like fizzled out, and there was a possibility of getting that sixth place spot. I think we'd have got hammered in the playoffs. But having said that, the experience would have been good, and I'd rather we'd finished strongly. But this season, as I say, it's been really odd because it almost feels like we're still in pre-season. We're still trying to bed new players in. We're still trying to learn each other's style of play. And at the time that we've been trying to do that, all the new signings have been going down injured. So they're in, they play a game, maybe two games, get injured, get COVID, have to isolate or whatever. So it's almost like being amateur Saturday morning football, ringing around and seeing who can turn up and bring your boots and you're in the side kind of thing.
It seems to be like for yourselves at present with all the injuries you've got. I mean, we were very similar pre-lockdown. I think we were unbeaten in 6, but then after, when we come out of lockdown, we just kind of fell apart a bit now. Whether it's just on the day the better team won, or or whether it's just the fact of, I mean, the players were given stuff to do in their flats, houses, etc., and so forth, and then whether they were putting the proper effort in. It's hard to say. But that was then, and then obviously we've carried on into the new season now. And it is like pre-season game kind of thing to a degree. At the start, it was just like a stroll in the park kind of thing. And these are meant to be like competitive games now, where points are up for grabs rather than they still feel a bit pre-season-ish to myself.
Well, it's surreal not having fans in as well. I mean, it will be interesting at the end of the season to look back and see what impact that has had on results.
Yeah, of course.
Our best performances have come away from home.
Yeah.
So nobody can sort of say, well, it's the home fans putting pressure on the players that's caused us not to perform at home. It's just bizarre, the psychology of how it will affect players and how they'll respond and react.
In the same boat in that sense, with like no fans, and okay, I know maybe abroad some countries are letting fans into games and etc. and so forth. But yeah, we'll have to deal with that, and hopefully we can all return soon to grounds and watch our teams play once again, all safely and soundly, as I say. Just going on to today's game, Ian.
Yes.
As you know yourself, it's well documented that we haven't won at Ewood Park for numerous years.
Yes.
1999 that we beat it 2-0, I think it was, or something like that. Wow, how long ago is that? It's like 20 plus years ago now. I know we've picked up a couple of draws, but overall, our record at Ewood Park, and like many other away grounds, is not great. So personally today myself, I would take a draw, no matter how many injuries your squad has got and what players got out. We've got, like yourselves, new players coming in, bedding into a new side, new ways of playing, possibly from where they've previously played. We have got the slight bit of experience, like yourselves and Jeff Cameron, people like that in the squad. I will take a point. Even though we've won our last 2 games, one was at home to Cardiff, the other way to Derby, who I thought were very similar to us, struggling a bit at the wrong end of the table. And obviously, unfortunately, you guys are down there only through reason of all your key players have been there, or like some of your key players in the sense of like Dack, Armstrong, people like that. I'm sure there's others, but obviously I wouldn't know because obviously I don't follow Blackburn, but they're key players in my eyes. And I'm sure a lot of opposing fans' eyes, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, there is others, but so I would, obviously my heart wants us to win. which would be amazing because obviously 1999 to 2020 is a great length of time.
It's long overdue for sure. Yes,
I would settle for a draw, but my head's going by with past tense of history and stuff. I know things can change. It wouldn't surprise me if Blackburn edge it today, but I hope the team proved me wrong. Even considering with all your injuries and your players that are out due to COVID, etc.
Yeah,
I think because of the record that you have against us, even at our ground, I think you've had a pretty decent record.
Yeah, you gave us a bit of a pantsing last season, 4-2, which I think was one of our worst performances of the season. But
won a few games at Loftus Road, Kai and Prince Foundation Stadium. So
yeah,
I think you may edge it. I think it's possibly two sides at the minute who are struggling through different reasons. I mean, we couldn't score goals like for 4 games on the trot, and then we beat Cardiff 3-2, and then we beat Derby 1-0. Luckily for us, we got the win.
Yeah.
It's badly needed. Because if we lose today, then at least that comforts against the 2 wins. I wasn't expecting to get anything at Derby, even though because it's just away from home, we're not the best. So, what's your thoughts and views on the game today, please, Ian?
I think it's very similar to yours, but for different reasons. You sort of say, well, yes, we have a good record against your Ewood Park, but it matters for nothing. That was history. Today at 3:00, 2 different teams will line up and they'll play each other. I'd shake hands on a draw now. I've got to be honest. I think I'm hankering towards 2-2. I don't think we'll keep a clean sheet, and depending on who we can get out there. But yeah, with the likes of even Brereton and Gallagher are much maligned, very expensive signings, and they produce very little. But with the likes of Lewis Holtby and Harvey Elliott supplying, you'd hope that we're capable of scoring. I think if we score first,
you do some damage. I've Holtby and Gallagher. I think Gallagher got the winner against us last season or so.
He's a very. It's very odd the story of Sam Gallagher. We don't seem to be playing him in his favoured position, and he's there's something there, but we don't seem to be able to get it out of him somehow. Because Armstrong's been playing so well, Armstrong's been playing through the middle, but I think it's highly unlikely that Armstrong will start today. So I think it'll probably be Brereton and Gallagher that we'd look to up front with Elliott. As I say, Elliott is the interesting one. I think he's the one that makes things happen. He's the one that can do something that's a bit like easy for you last season. Just give him the ball and let him do something, and we'll see what happens. So I've got a hankering for 2-2. I've got to be honest. I know we're both being incredibly diplomatic here and talking down our own teams, but for good reason.
Obviously, it's the scenarios of both sides. I mean, maybe you were a bit struggling a little bit because obviously with all your players out, but prior to that, you're banging goals in left, right, and actually maybe against sides who've just come down from like Wickham.
Yeah.
But you still got to play it. I mean, it's like Coventry actually beat us at their place 3-2. I mean. Okay,
they beat Reading, didn't they, as well? So after we'd given them a good pasting, Reading beat us at home, and easily, it has to be said. And then they went to Coventry and lost. I mean, nobody can make sense of the Championship. It's just a crazy division.
Our defensive frailties, we caused some of our own downfall, but then they still had to do the job, which they did, which is, these things happen. So it's underestimating teams, irrespective of where they are on the table, is a bit of a dangerous game to play, I think. Obviously, you want your team to win. But, okay, Ian. I'm going to let you go now, but thank you very much for joining on QPR Fans.
You're welcome.
Home and away with your pre-match preview and thoughts of your season for Blackburn and today's game. And speak to you again sometime soon, hopefully.
Yeah, that'd be great. We'll see how it unfolds this afternoon, and we can dissect the parts later on.
Okay, no worries. If you're up for doing that, then we'll catch you later on, sometime after the game when we do.
Surely.
If you want for the game, win, lose or draw, and go from there. That's it myself, Deejay Ranger for QPR Fans and Players TV, home and away, with Blackburn Rovers fan Ian Herbert, co-host of BRFCS podcast.
Spot on, sir. Well done. Speak later.
Come on, you R'ss.